What Nerdigans? This is the one and only Packer Girl 89, and today's book nerdigan video is Entice by Jessica Shirvington, Part 2. Hello, Bitty Popo. Thanks for introducing the cover. And if you have not read Embrace by Jessica Shirvington, or Entice, or have by Jessica Shirvington, or have watched any of my book nerdigans videos for Embrace or Entice so far, then why the hell are you here? Go read the book. Go watch the videos and come back here so we can talk about it, because that's why I do this, because none of my friends read the books that I like. So, yes, that's why I do this stuff. And this is, as I forgot to mention in my other video, this is part of the Angel Readathon. So there is a purpose for this, besides I love to read these books. But anyway, where we left off in this book, thank you Popo, Mini Popo. Say goodbye, Mini Popo, for showing the amazing cover. Anyway, we left off where Phoenix just used his enticement, his powers to entice Violet and Spence to make out in front of Lincoln and Magda in Hades, and then brought back the wounds to Violet that Onyx inflicted and healed it. And luckily Spence used the power of glamour so no one else can see it. And then Dapper just said, "Why are you always covering my floor in blood? Go upstairs. Onyx will explain what Violet needs to know what happened to her." And for Bourbon, and he will explain upstairs. So, yes, that is the deal. So, of course, in the midst of the chaos, aka Violet's inner turmoil, Steph with a twinkle in her eye says, "Did you see all of those books in the hallway?" I love Steph as a closet book nerdigan. Yes, she is. And you'll see Dapper is a book nerdigan too. And you will see in the next book why. So Dapper was not pleased about Violet wearing his robe, because Violet, of course, is going to shower and have her clothes washed, because she's not going to be covered in blood all night. Fuck. And, well, sorry, Steph is washing and drying Violet's blood-covered top. It'd be better if Violet wasn't topless, seriously. Well. Dapper and Onyx are getting close, and Violet describes them as having some kind of sink, and Onyx even throws it out there, and Dapper flushes. He wants to, I thought that was hella funny. He wants to stay in the apartment for 2 weeks without working to earn his keep, which Dapper wants, and Violet owes him. And Onyx has only seen it once, a powerful weapon, though not many of us exiles, he says, are willing to take the risk of the bond. He was not even sure what it was or what its importance was until he came across it, though after he saw it tonight, it seems very believable. And this is, you know, the typical Onyx warm-up, because Onyx never shuts the fuck up. So, here we go. So, it was in the 13th century, and a young Gregory turned spiritual leader. Some even thought of him to be the first and only Gregory to ever be blessed with true vision. Of course, for exiles, his fame made him particularly an important prize, and though he was well-guarded and deceptively powerful, one exile found a way to get to him. The exile appeared to him as a vision, used his imagination to put him in a state of confusion that he found appropriately amusing. Afterwards, the exile healed the Gregory and let him go under the belief that he received a spiritual connection with the heavenly power, when in fact, all that he achieved was a physical bond between the exile and the Gregory. The exile, of course, planned to use this new power to help turn the tide, but unfortunately it was not meant to be. When the Gregory discovered the deceit, he would not succumb to the exile's demands and endured the pains of wounds each time they were re-inflicted. It was harder each time. Religious types were less malleable than they are today. And it would have been, and Onyx says, it would have been awesome if it would have worked. Even in its limited version it was, but because it still led to the Gregory's death in the end. His injuries gradually drained his powers and the buried life from him. And, you know, Steph, the genius that she is, figured out who it was. It was St. Francis of Assisi. I can't say it right. I'm butchering it. It's Assisi. I'm sorry I butchered the name. He died after suffering from 5 brutal wounds he endured over 2 years and bore the stigma, the wounds of the crucifixion. And it doesn't, stigmata, excuse me. It doesn't have to be a stigmata, according to Onyx, By healing the wounds, the exile effectively gives a piece of his immortality to the victim, in this case Phoenix to Violet. And Salvatore pointed out that Onyx lied, that killing Phoenix was the key to reversing it. And if they want more information on how to reverse it from Onyx, he requires Armani shirts, one white with pinstripe, the other coal and an expensive electric razor. Yeah, well, Onyx is either gay or Metro. Seriously, he has to be. And Onyx quit taunting Violet about Lincoln and that she slept with Phoenix. I love that Dapper is the only one that could get Onyx to shut up, and that this proves something is happening. And because Phoenix healed Violet, and this is according to Onyx, he has a physical connection. He can bring back the wounds Onyx inflicted, but is also holding back from them recurring. If he dies, Violet dies with him. And Phoenix, seriously, you bastard, you caused the seed of doubt in Violet and Lincoln. And Lincoln, please forgive Violet and blame Phoenix for this shit. It's affected her in art class, and she needs to do well for the Fenton course. And I love this. This is so funny. So Spence showed up at school during lunch, of course, to clear the air. And boy, Communarchus was it awkward. I'm sorry, I'm pulling a Rubio again. Spence doesn't like V like that, and the feeling is mutual, and they will stay friends. Well, blame that bastard Phoenix. Steph can see through the glamour because it's a pick and choose thing. Right now, it's those who don't already know him disguising glamour as a very inconspicuous smoking hot girl in the school uniform. I love this part. I love when he says it. Smoking comes naturally to me. It's hard for me to cover my innate hotness, no matter what form I'm in. I love it, and I love what Steph says afterwards. She's like, it's a co-ed school, you know, you could have stayed male. Spence says, true, but it wouldn't have been so easy to stop by the girls' locker room on the way home. Okay, guys who are watching this video, how many of you, seriously, would do this if they could? If you guys were like Spence and could glamour yourself into anything, would you guys glamour yourself into a girl and go into the girls' locker room and just stare at all the chicks changing? I would love to know this. Please leave it in the comments section. I'm curious. And, of course, Steph dumped her salad on Spence's head, and Violet threw parts of her roll at him. Spence, I'm sorry, you deserve that. And Violet is so lucky she has a black Amex card that she can withdraw the money, but shit, $1,000? Screw you, Onyx. And Steph, what do you call that on sale? Seriously, it's called Marshall's. I could go to Marshall's and find an Armani shirt for cheap. Probably for like less than $1,000, and a nice little electric shaver for cheaper than that. I don't know what you... Steph, seriously, you don't know cheap. I'm sorry, you don't. And damn, Griffin is starting to get... And I'm glad Griffin is starting to get annoyed at Magda and Lincoln's secret mission. And more at Magda because she's his partner. And thank Connie they were never in love. But yeah, she's fucking hot. But seriously, they were never in love. And Griffin would never risk his role as a Seraph Gregory to be in love with his partner and lose his power. And I don't fucking blame him. So we find out from Griffin, Magda is of the 10th Royal Order, which is simply just called Angel. No wonder she's freaking annoyed and pissy at life. Her strength is that she can speak telepathically and can only speak to people of the same power, which are exiles. Huh! Makes you think. So Griffin is the highest and Magda is of the lowest. Ouch! And Magda called Nyla, which is weird. Why didn't she call Griffin? And she has a lead on the scriptures where a couple of exiles are holding up. And that's to an abandoned warehouse 10 minutes away from the same airport where Violet spends the weird powers earlier in the book. And Rudyard's strength, basically, he's like one of the freeze the scatter devices. AKA, he can gauge and read power levels, but can also tell the size of their potential. Well, actually, that's actually more like Guru. I just realized that. I thought it was like freeze the scatters. No, it's more like Guru. Because Guru, if you guys remember, it's for those anime nerdigans, I know I'm going off track. For those anime nerdigans, or DBZ nerdigans that know, if you guys remember the Namekian saga, Guru placed or I should say Super Kami Guru, placed the head over Krillin and Gohan's head and Detonate's head, and was able to sense the potential and unleash it. But I don't think that Rudy could unleash potential. He just could sense it, engage it. But same goes for the Exile. Then you can tell when someone is using their power. And shit, Violet, you got busted, and Griffin knows you lied. And 3 exiles at the farmhouse, including the Ginger from Hades. Yes, Rudy. Yes, Rudy. Hades is hell, not the bar. In the farmhouse, and there's one guard, and Nyla returned the guard, and she's one fierce warrior. Rudyard trusts her. And 2 of the exiles are fear users that will bring your worst fears before your eyes. And fuck, Nyla's a badass bitch. But of course those bastard fear users had to target Violet at the same time. And that's when you have to call hacks. That shit. And Violet's fear sequence, and this is where I bring up the embrace. Like I mentioned in the previous Book Nerdigan video. So her fear sequence is from her embrace when she stabbed herself. She saw 3 images of herself, her stabbing herself, and herself dead. And thank God, Griffin slapped her out of it. Otherwise, as Griffin said, fear can kill. Oh, and the other 2 were returned, and only the Ginger one remained. And oh, thanks a lot, Griffin. You only slapped her to help you with the last exile. And damn it, Griffin, the verbal abuse is real because seriously, Griffin, he could be scary if you mess with him. Whew, Griffin is fucking scary. Basically, if the exile didn't say where the last scriptures were, or say where the scriptures were, Violet would turn him human. And according to the exile, the scriptures are where all the rules were first placed, where all the rules went in the beginning. The rules for the 3 that existed, welcome or not, there were rules and other instructions as needed. Find the place of the rules, find the lost scriptures. And humans found their rules close to 3,500 years ago, the 10 Commandments. The other ones were for the Gregory, and one for the exiles hell on earth. Remain in their original place for belonging. But not much longer, stupid exile. And Griffin confirms this is true. And dropping off Onyx's bribes, before heading off to lessons. And I love Onyx sneaking into the cellar to try and steal booze. That is just the story of Onyx. He's just at Dapper's. He is just always trying to steal booze. And Onyx, and you'll see later on, Onyx and Dapper's relationship is just alcohol fueled. It is. All right, and then Violet's recapped everything with which Lincoln. This is back at Lincoln's warehouse, and which Lincoln had no idea about. This is what happens when, this is back at Lincoln's warehouse. And this is what happens when you don't pick up your phone, as Griffin points out. Oh, snap, I love that shit when Griffin did that. And then Lincoln kicks everyone out of the warehouse except for Violet. Uh-oh, and Violet's legs were really fucked up and dirty. And she was also hurt. And this was so sweet. I love this moment, and this is why I'm mentioning it. And he cleaned Violet's legs and healed her and said he was sorry. And I was like, oh. And then after he saw Spence kissing her, he just couldn't go through with being hurt again. I was like, oh, it's okay, Link, it's okay. And then they started, after, they were done healing, he was done healing her. Training because, I skipped a lot of shit, so this is why you need to read the book, people. Training brought up the verbal diarrhea, including... I love this. This was so funny when Violet said, asked Lincoln if Lincoln was in love with Magda or if Magda's preggers. And of course, Lincoln was laughing his ass off. I was cracking up so hard. It was hilarious. So apparently, Magda found a lead on Natlas on vacation, who was the exile that eventually killed Lincoln's mom. And he vowed vengeance on his ass and won't let him hurt anyone else he loves. So he doesn't love Magda, Violet. She's a freaking commie Arceus. So finally, you realize he's your soulmate. And geez, that took you long enough. Well, she says other when she felt their power spike as Violet placed her hand on Lincoln's cheek. Yep, they be soulmates. And Lincoln is so focused on his revenge on Nallus that he's shutting himself down and closing himself off from everyone else except good old Maggie. And Violet is going to stand by and watch Lincoln self-destruct like this anymore. Yeah, he's not doing that anymore. He's not going to do that. She is not doing that shit anymore. He would do the same for her. He wouldn't watch her self-destruct like this. Trust me, this is important. Why do you think I'm mentioning this? So Violet calls in the big guns, aka Steph, to find out more about Nallus, and basically going to the library and research on the interwebs. And Steph says Salvatore can sense there's someone lying. So there's some lying going on, and you gotta wonder who it could be. And there was a reason that Violet stayed behind, and she realized this as she felt the spare key in her pocket. And someone interfered, light or dark, and she gave the key to Steph so she can, do all the research that she needed. So at Hades, Griffin started bringing in some local Gregory and then signed them to territories to eliminate, weed out some individual exiles, and following up on intel and leads that then Griffin filtered out. And Griffin is basically the central hub, and some Gregory would get some info from exiles, and they return and pass it along to Griffin, who would in turn send local Gregory to the said territories. And so the Gregory pairs we have right now are Nyla and Rudyard, Samuel and Caitlin, who are going after more intel on the scriptures and Phoenix's whereabouts. Phoenix has taken over where Onyx and Joel have left off with Gressel and Oliver instead. Sal and Zoe partner up with Beth and Archer, who apparently met Michelangelo when he first commissioned the famous statue of David, which was at the beginning of the 16th century, to scout the farmhouse. Magda and Link were MIA for the night. Spence and Violet were supposed to scout the aircraft carrier, and I just love that Spence is just down for anything sneaky. And no, you can't torture Onyx. Go with Nyla for that. I love that line. And just bribery. And I love Spence's signature line. It's never a dull moment with you, Eden. I love it. I love Onyx. He loves Gossip Girl, and he thought Chuck was an exile without fault through police to show his I love it. And Nallus is a cherubim of light. And Onyx, you want to know, you tell me. I love this part. You want to know, you tell me why. And Violet says, you're an asshole. And then Onyx says, thank you. It's something that took an eternity to perfect. And I love that part too. And then finally, and this is important because this is where Onyx's character changes for the better, and Onyx and Spencer's relationship changes too. Spence beats the crap out of Onyx, and I love what he says. He says, I don't buy that crap that you don't buy the crap that you not caring for yourself. Selfishness comes from only one thing: self-freaking love. And I was like thinking, you tell him, Spence. See, sometimes violence is the only way to go. And I was like, yes, thank you. And after that, things changed with their relationship. I swear to Carmi and Arceus. So now we can get back to Nallus. So Nallus is according to Onyx, he is a gun for hire, and Nallus wouldn't know how to act alone even if he wanted to. He is one of the tempted, even in the angel realm amongst the light and dark. There is a political system even amongst the exiles. Basically, the leaders, those who follow, those who can be persuaded, and the weak ones that can be persuaded to not have a true belief system. Nallus was persuaded to exile by another angel with materials, riches, and service purposes on Earth. He is a modern exile preferring to use modern technology and financial structure to hide within. He has an aptitude for survival, and his leader was killed by a Gregory over half a century ago. He's been an entrepreneur ever since. Excuse me. He is a freelancer to the highest bidder and works for not only exiles. There's something fishy here. And wow, and Spence was right. Onyx is starting to enjoy and care about his human life. And Phoenix, you're totally pulling an Eisen. Hashtag, and it sends a block too. It's all according to plan, because Phoenix is trying to be a troll god. Yes, he is. So Phoenix, you perv, you're spying on Violet in the back and making her think about you, stupid jerk. Oh my god. Oh my coming in Arceus. Why? I was like, that was so disgusting. Ugh. Don't ever do that, guys. And I'm with Spence. I'm with Spence because this is now we're going to the aircraft factory, which they're supposed to do. I'm with Spence on this. I would be checking out the beautiful planes in the aircraft factory. Violet, seriously, you just don't understand, and that's just because I go to air shows. Seriously, for those who don't understand, go to a military air show, watch an F-18, watch an F-22 fly. Oh my community, it's heaven. And Lincoln said the sound of wings, because for the census, equals ravens and doves, light and dark, represent the battle of life and death and the ongoing effort for anything to survive. And the branches and leaves symbolize everything that must be defeated if the living force is to go on, and it's the choice to go on. And damn it, the mission was going so well, but so well too. But anyway, so Spence and Violet discovered that the exiles are using the aircraft factory to line aircraft carriers with titanium. So Violet, don't hate, seriously Violet, don't hate on the B-1 bomber. B-1 bombers are awesome. Then of course, Violet's phone beeps with the text. And then, yeah, and then they notice them, and Violet pulls an amazing pun, and it was fucking awesome. And they kick their asses, of course. And then one was from Griff, which is back to Hades, can't get a hold of Lincoln Magda, have a lead on the scriptures, and one from Onyx with analysis of dresses. And so before they head back, this was after they killed or that's after they returned the exiles, they found that the exiles are lining Antonov and Spence. I love when Violet says, Spence, do you need a moment with the plane? And Spence had to take serious consideration about that. That was freaking hilarious. With titanium, which turns out blocks the senses. And it's time to split up. So Spence to Hades, Violet to the library to meet up with Steph, who's a freaking genius. And, well, let's just say this guy doesn't have a Facebook page, but he has been involved in a lot of corporate schemes, but nothing on Link's mom. Yet someone did interfere, so that's when she gave the key to, sorry, I misspoke. That's when she gave the key to Lincoln, to Steph. So, Steph is the voice of reason. See, Violet, Lincoln loves your stupid ass. And I love this part right here, and this is, sorry, I'm talking a lot, so that's why I have to pull up Rubio. So, Onyx is becoming more human and aka less sinister, now just being mean. Yeah, that kind of says a lot about his character right here. And I love that this is happening in one book with that much character development. And keep in mind, this is only the second book in the series, which is pretty awesome. So, according to Griff, Nyla and Rudyard, Nyla and Rudyard, the scriptures are in Jordan, and after all, that's where Moses found the Ten Commandments. They believe he also found an exile in Gregory's stone tablet. When Moses realized that humans weren't the only potential rulers of the earth, and that exiled angels existed, and even more concerning, angels exist in the angel realm, both light and dark capacity, and became enraged, and he became enraged and smashed a complete set of tablets and never realized more than the Ten Commandments for humans. For humans, the second set of tablets with the Ten Commandments was uncovered and stored away. What remained were hidden for safekeeping and eventually translated into scripture. That's a key thing for the next book. For the Gregory, where is it? The translated into scripture only be revealed to their own kind. They believe that the scriptures for the Gregory and exiles are concealed to somehow waiting to be discovered in Jordan. In Jordan, Moses was buried in a tomb beneath his place of death, and that sometime after this, the scriptures were placed in that tomb too. A prophet, Jeremiah, was sent on an angelic quest with the Ark of Covenant, within which the scriptures were concealed. Jeremiah was charged with delivering the contents back to its original owner. If the info from a passage of the second book of Maccabees is correct, it's in Jordan. So Dapper overheard some exiles last night saying they're heading to Jordan tonight, so it's time to go. So now it gets really good. So I might end up having to do a part 3 where it's Jordan, but let's see how fast I get through this part. So hashtag Operation Rescue Lincoln. So good thing Griffin finally gets it, because, you know, Violet had to explain it. But needs to be complete in 2 hours, and of course Onyx is stealing vodka. Are you stealing or helping? I love it. Violet, are you stealing or helping? Onyx, haven't decided yet. You? Violet, just going to get what's mine. Thanks for the info, I owe you one. And yeah, Spence is totally coming for the ride. Spence is not staying behind. Fuck that shit. Spence, You sly fox, you know how to get to the penthouse floor. Just call maintenance and then glamour yourself in the elevator. And Violet, seriously, it was for nothing, because why didn't you use your connection in the first place? That frustrated the fuck out of me. I'm sorry it did. And then, the white lilies. The white lilies. Oh, the white lilies. That's all I gotta say about that. The white lilies. So, the Battle of Nullis. Seriously, geez, what a shitty fighter. It's kind of like Astia. And that kind of, well, it's kind of expected because he's a cherubim, but this was like Hestia, and it bothered the hell out of me, but there was purpose for this. But unlike Hestia and Heart of Stone, there was purpose for Nallus to be weak as fuck. So I understand this one. So Magnus shot the exile, and seriously, what a coward! No honor, that stupid bitch! Using guns means no honor for Gregory, by the way. And Violet healed, and this was so sweet right here. And this is going to come back later. I'm telling you right now. So Violet healed Lincoln's heart and soul to remove the pain and fear and fill the void with love, which I thought was really sweet. And since the trials, I love what Violet said, since the trial, since that day, the only time I find myself, me, is in you. And I was like, oh, I love that line. And Magda killed Nullis. And the final words from Nullis was, you bitch. And Violet thinks it was, Violet was thinking it was her. And no, Violet, you aren't a bitch. That kiss, and by the way, that kiss sealed the deal. They are truly in love. And Lincoln is still holding her hand with his thumb stroking her 64 times. Yeah, she is counting. And, oh, Lincoln is so romantic complimenting Violet when she is at her most beautiful in the morning. I was like, oh, Lincoln, yes, I surrender. I surrender, please. Just take me, please. And I love it. And Violet and Link, through kissing Violet, sense an extreme. Oh, wait a minute, we're not there yet. And most beautiful in the morning. So we are at the 27-minute. How much do I have left on notes? Ooh, yeah, I got a lot. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to stop it here, and I'm going to do a part 3, and it's going to be on Jordan, because Jordan is extremely important. So, I'm going to, yeah. So, I want to know, wait a minute. What are we on my notes? Oh, and before I end it, I got to say, yes, they did make it to the plane on time, and Magda somehow missed it. And by the way, they are on a private jet. Yes, they are on a private jet. So anyway, and Spence is being mature and saying that he is not going, and they're on a military plane, by the way, because they have to go to a military base. So I'm going to leave it off here because Jordan, it gets very intense, and I got a feeling the rest of these books are going to be 3-parters as well. Sorry, there's just a lot of stuff that needs to be covered in these books. They're so good, and I don't want my videos to be so long. But I really am curious. I want to know what you guys think about this section of the book, particularly the battle against Nallus, because I understand why Nallus was weak because of what Onyx said. And I want to know what you guys think of the character development in particular, especially with Dapper and Onyx, because I love how far they've come as characters. And this is only the 2nd book, because if you want to compare them so far with from Embrace to this part of Entice, I mean, look at this. Like, Onyx was a total sadistic asshole who was losing his sanity. And now look at him. He appreciates his humanity. He went from a drunk, homeless, formless, should have been exiled, to this guy who's helping Violet. Like, this is amazing writing and character development. I want to know what you guys think. And I will see you guys in part 3 where we're going to talk about Jordan when we get to the really uber nitty-gritty of the mythology. And I want to know what you guys also think about Moses and about the Gregory and exile scriptures and the 10 Commandments. So please remember to like, comment, and share, and subscribe. And I will see you in part 3 of Entice. Until next time, book nerdigans, keep on reading.